Welcome to another episode of Conversations by Water. My name is Paola Spitia and I'm one of the creatives over at Ola'pi Creative. We started Conversations by Water to be able to talk to local wave makers all about what it is they're doing to inspire change in our local community as well as globally. And today we are in for a really big treat. We're here with a friend, Joe Land, who is a team member over at 4Ocean. We'll let him describe what that's all about. But I actually met Joe, of all places, on the water.
Absolutely.
That's how you know you have really good connection with people, is when you meet them on the water. And we got to talking. I knew he worked with 4Ocean. He had his uniform on. He had just gotten back from a day out in the water. And of course, we had so much to talk about. Joe is also someone who's into ocean conservation, and he'll get a little bit more into that. So without further ado, let's keep this conversation going. And Joe, the first thing I wanted to find out from you is, what is your connection to water?
Well, my first connection to water began actually nowhere near the water. It was nowhere near the ocean. It was my third grade teacher would show, she was a very big conservationist, and she would show a show called Voyage of the Mimi. Have you heard of that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and actually that is what inspired me to, in third grade, I started the first Save the Earth Club.
Oh, nice.
I completely fell in love with the ocean and knew that one day I was going to end up close to the ocean and hopefully be able to make a difference.
There's that, makes me think of it, I believe it's through Sylvia Earle, that quote that says, once the ocean casts its spell, you cannot ignore it. It was either Sylvia Earle or Jacques Cousteau, but it's super true. What was it for you about the ocean? What was that first experience like with water?
Well, when I first was able to see the water, see the ocean, was on vacation when I was 12. I went to Panama City Beach, and just the first moment that I saw the beach, I realized how big the world was and how small we were. And then actually being able to get in it and feeling just the power was just something that was indescribable.
I love that you bring that specific point up. There's a whole idea of blue minds, which I know you're familiar with, the idea that there's a reason why when we spend time on water, we feel really good about ourselves, we feel very calm and more focused, more creative. And that all comes down to the idea of being inspired and feeling awe. This sense that the world is so much bigger than we are, and suddenly our problems become so much smaller, and it makes us really take a step back and appreciate how insignificant our problems are and how amazing and beautiful this planet is, especially our blue planet, blue minds, right?
Absolutely.
So after how did you make your way down to Florida?
I was ready to make a change in my life, and I had been to, as an adult, vacationed in South Florida, and was familiar with it and fell in love with the area, so I moved here. And when my actual ocean conservation career started, I was walking on the beach very early in the morning, on Fort Lauderdale Beach actually, and I saw a couple of people holding buckets releasing sea turtle hatchlings.
Oh, nice.
So I was, of course, loving the ocean and excited to learn more, asked what they were doing, and they explained what the lighting issue was with the sea turtles and the disorientation. And so I looked into the organization, I started volunteering, ended up becoming a staff member, and from there it's just went up, well, actually down in the water. So.
And so what is it that you do now?
I actually work for 4Ocean, and 4Ocean is a company dedicated to ocean cleanup and anything that has to do with ocean cleanup, coastal beaches, and anything that we can do to protect the ocean from plastic and marine debris.
And your specific role as one of these team members is you get to hang out on the boat most days, right? So we're actually on one of 4Ocean's boat in the marina here in Fort Lauderdale. So this is your office.
Yes, Monday through Friday, this is usually my office.
And you brought some things here to show. So this is part of the collection today, is that right?
Yeah, this is actually what we found in the intercoastal waterway close to Port Everglades. And we actually, this isn't something that is, surprising to find. We find nets, ghost nets like this, derelict traps, things like every day.
Yeah.
And it would just so happen today we found, a very large net. And also separately we found large amounts of rope.
Yes, of all kinds of sizes for all kinds of purposes. This rope, we've seen, I'm sure you've seen it too, when you go diving, you see a lot of this rope gets tangled up in the sea fans and the coral. We even see it on birds. The problem with these nets, with these ghost nets, is that not only are they just floating around and being caught on the reef, but also animals find their way inside of them. Things like sea turtles, for instance, they get trapped in these nets, and it's never a good thing for animals. So it's really neat that 4Ocean, that your job is to literally clean up these waterways. About how much trash do you all collect in a day, in a week? How much do you collect?
We have 4 locations throughout South Florida that go out 7 days a week. And the range is on average, one boat, on an average around 300 pounds a day.
Wow, 300 pounds a day of this kind of marine trash. And that's just here, that's in these 4 locations here in South Florida, local.
Yes.
That's incredible. And these kinds of waterways, do you end up seeing a lot of other random things? Like, what's a weird thing that you might find out here in the water?
The most random thing to date, I guess, has to be a set of false teeth. it was a set of false teeth, and I was like, okay, well. But some of the most common things that we find, and of course you're very familiar, is plastic water bottles, single-use plastic bags. Something I was surprised to see was the new plastic dental floss, where it has a little tip on it.
Oh yeah, like the single dental floss.
Yes, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
We find those in the water, tons of them every day.
Oh wow!
Day. And you wouldn't think that, of course, people probably aren't, cleaning their teeth and just throwing them in the water. They have to be like.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a really delicate system that we live in here. We're really lucky to live in the Venice of the Americas, surrounded by water, living here in South Florida. But it's a delicate balance when you live in a coastal city. That we are going to find this kind of trash in these areas, and there's actually a lot of things that people can do, right? So 4Ocean, I know, is doing a lot. What is their mission? What are they trying to accomplish?
We want to become world leaders of ocean cleanup. Anywhere that there is an ocean plastic problem, we want to be there to help clean it up.
And you do not only local initiatives, you also work on a global scale. So there's people all over the world who are collecting trash in the name of 4Ocean. Is that right?
Absolutely. Well, yes. Besides the actual boats that we have going out 7 days a week, we do a lot of different initiatives. We have local beach cleanups.
Yes. Tell us about the one that you just led.
Okay, so we had, if you're familiar with spring break in South Florida, as many of the locals are, and now it's actually became national news. It became a very big problem. We want to have the spring breakers here. We want them to have fun, but they also need to know what their impact is when they're here. And year after year, we've seen a large amount of plastic and debris ending up on the beach and going into the water before come in and the city has done an amazing job, but you cannot go in between 100,000 kids. So and it's just flowing into the water throughout the day.
Right.
So what I thought of is, why can't we be there to not only collect the trash as it's happening, but why not go and talk to these college students and see if they'll change their mind, even if it's just during spring break. So what we did, we set up pledge meetings.
Oh, nice.
And we actually had the Spring Breakers pledge to be good stewards of the beach and ocean while they're here, and that meant that they would use the bins that were provided to not litter and pick up trash whenever they saw it. And they had to read it, they had to sign it, date it, so they did. While they were doing that, I had educational material there where they actually saw what it's actually like out there in the ocean with plastics, with all of the debris. And I'm very proud to say that we were able to, just with our pledges and our crew educating, we were able to have over 1,000 Spring Breakers pledged to be good stewards of the beach and ocean.
Nice, that's super.
Yes, that was like, I was so excited, and it actually saw these college students that would have probably, probably not even thought about it. They were picking up trash and putting it in. Some were stumbling around, but that was okay. They were still
Just in a
picking
bin.
they were picking it up and making sure that it went into the bin. And one of the other things that we did, sorry.
Oh yeah, please. We do a lot of talking on these conversations by water.
Yes. But another thing that we did, we provided some of our handbags that we use for our public volunteer beach cleanups. And if it was a large group, we would get one and ask them if they could fill it up or they're to use it. And there was actually a whole Spring Breakers walking down the beach picking up trash, and they were so excited. And they had to make sure that we saw them. They were so excited. They were like, wow! And they it actually, and it really did make a big impact.
It's amazing how something as small as just picking up a couple pieces of trash can really fill you up and make you understand that, one, it's easy to do, to pick up a couple pieces,
Yes, absolutely.
and two, that it actually does help to beautify the beaches. We all live here because we love how this blue backyard makes us feel. We love the blue, the beautiful beaches, but they have a really nice impact when they're kept clean and they're kept wild. These waterways are kept very healthy. It serves nobody any good with dirty coastlines. It really doesn't. It doesn't serve us, nor does it serve the corals that are just offshore. So it all kind of makes sense that each of us just do a little piece on our own, and we all contribute to making these beaches and our coastlines beautiful. Another thing that I really love about what 4Ocean does is, and you mentioned it a little bit earlier, is yes, you're out there collecting trash, and you are literally out there being active, making an impact here. But then also, the proceeds from each one of the bracelets that is made actually go back to a specific cause. So, for instance, here in March, the cause is coral reef research. Is that right?
Yes. Well, back up just a little.
Yeah.
What we did is it's one bracelet, 1 pound.
One bracelet,
So
1 pound.
for every bracelet that we sell, we're able to remove 1 pound of plastic and marine debris from the ocean. But also, every month we have a different campaign. And like you mentioned, this March is the Coral Reef campaign, and a percentage of those proceeds go to coral reef restoration.
Woohoo!
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm really partial to that. That was what my thesis work was on in master's. So I'm very partial to coral restoration.
Yeah,
I've been a part of it. It's super super fulfilling. There's a lot of actually opportunities for divers here locally to be involved with coral restoration and even with cleaning up under the piers. So I'll have Joe talk a little bit about some of the beach cleanups that they lead. But in case any of you didn't know, if you're a diver or a snorkeler or just interested in participating, a couple of times a year throughout South Florida, they close down the piers, such as Dania Beach Pier and Pompano Pier, and they allow us to actually go in diving and clean up under the pier. And it is a huge effort. Lots and lots of divers, snorkelers, you know, people helping out topside come out. It is super fulfilling, and you would be shocked at how many little tiny lead weights you find under those piers. I mean,
isn't it incredible to like think, like, you know, when you're out there, you know, laying on the beach, you're thinking, oh, that's so beautiful.
Yeah.
It's, you know, you think of summer, but when you're actually in there, it's amazing what you actually find.
Yeah, and that brings up a really good point, that one of the hardest parts about ocean conservation is that unless you're a diver or a snorkeler, you don't really see the problem. You see the beautiful blue turquoise water, but you don't really get to see what's happening under those waves. And it is, you know, there's certainly a problem, but I don't want to also say that, you know, I don't want to give the impression that our oceans are full of plastics. That isn't necessarily the case. We do have beautiful spots, and we still have really nice dive spots, even here locally. And the beautiful part is that we get to experience that, and we are so fortunate to live very close to shore to a lot of these dive spots. So we don't want to discourage you from not going out and enjoying this beautiful backyard.
Absolutely.
And you know, when you are underwater, if you do happen to see something, always grab it. It's not that big of a deal. It's not that hard. But another way, if you are not a diver or a snorkeler yet, something you can do is they have a lot of initiatives here for beach cleanups that you all sponsor. Is that right?
Oh, absolutely. We have quite a few beach cleanups, volunteer beach cleanups, where you can actually come out and participate in a beach cleanup. And we have a very big team, very excited volunteers, and they come out, and you think, you know, that you know, you go out to Fort Lauderdale Beach or any beach in South Florida, and you think it's pretty, you know, once the beach tractors go through, it's pretty clean. People don't think about the microplastics that we're finding. It's absolutely incredible. The straws, the microplastics, and everything, and we collect, you know, hundreds of pounds just from our beach cleanups.
Right, and there's actually a study I came across that where initially we thought that a lot of marine life was eating the microplastics because they thought it was food. We're actually finding that they're attracted to those plastics because they taste like food. They taste like the fish. So that's a totally different you know, issue now, and it shows us just how specialized the marine ecosystem is when we're now talking about that plastic tastes like fish, tastes like food.
Oh, that's scary.
I know, it's pretty wild. But there are things we can do,
yeah,
right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And again, we have local beach cleanups. We just launched I think it was last weekend, we did a large reef cleanup with different dive shops and throughout South Florida.
Nice.
And we actually had divers, volunteer divers, going out and collecting marine debris from the reefs.
Oh my gosh, that's so good to hear. So when is the next one?
The next one, we're not sure yet.
Okay.
But this was our one of our first. It was a big success, so we'll definitely have another.
Yeah, definitely make sure you invite us. We would love to jump in and help out. We'll be holding you that. And as far as what can individuals do? What are some ways that we can just change a couple little things in our daily lives to help not have so much plastic in the ocean?
One of the biggest things that we can all do is think about what we're buying, what we're using on a daily basis. We, you know, and it doesn't have to happen all at once. Start with not using the water bottle. That is one of the biggest things that we find out in the water, and it's actually pretty simple. Once you get used, you buy a still water bottle. You filter. So some people are scared to use faucet water. It is actually sometimes, in many cases, much healthier than bottled water.
I drink out of the faucet.
Yes, I
do.
I do too, and it tastes fine.
Yeah.
I do use a filter, but the water is completely fine.
Yeah.
And not only are you keeping that plastic from entering the ocean, you're saving money. You're keeping that plastic from being made, because no one is going to make a product that can't be sold. So if we don't buy it, they're not going to make it.
Yes, that is such an important point. Is at the end of the day, it does come from, you know, the bigger corporations that are mass producing these plastics. But as consumers, we do have a choice, and we can be conscious consumers, is what we like to call it. In which case, we are doing things in our lives that are ocean friendly. We always say, get your drinks topless, right? No straw, no lid. That's a really easy thing you can do. Even just, here's an interesting thing I don't know if you knew about. If you actually drive using the AC versus rolling your windows down, it's actually more efficient for your car to run that way, which means that you have to fill it less, which means that gasoline is also a byproduct of petroleum, which is what also makes plastic bags. So there's a lot of really interesting little ways that you can avoid contributing to the plastics, the petroleum.
I'm actually so glad that you told me that, because I do the opposite to not use.
I know, that's what I thought too.
I love that. Well, thank you.
Cars are made to be really efficient with their windows up and the AC on.
That means I can use AC in South Florida. Thank you.
You might run through it a couple times faster, but yeah, it's really neat. So it doesn't take much. We say take 3 for the sea. So every time you go to the beach, pick up 3 pieces of trash. Avoid these single-use plastics. Order your drinks topless. Recommend to your favorite restaurant that they start or they stop using straws. I don't know if you knew, there's a really neat initiative by Surfrider, and big shout out to Surfrider Broward for putting this out there. There's an ocean-friendly restaurant initiative. It started in Surfrider San Diego, and we are picking it up here at Surfrider Broward as well as Surfrider Miami. The idea is that we want to promote restaurants to reduce and eliminate their single-use plastics usage. So if you want to become an ocean-friendly restaurant, please make sure you let us know about that. We can give you information for that. This is a fun question. What is your favorite part of your job?
My favorite part of my job? There's actually quite a few, but I have to say being able to go out and not only be here to make an impact, a direct impact from the collection of the marine debris, but like we did on the beach during spring break, being able to educate and inspire others, and even if we can give them a small bit of our passion to take back with them, that has to be one of my favorite parts.
And I can certainly say that you have already made an impact. I shared that picture of you from my friend Shop Acacia. Thank you for taking that picture. I used it. But she just came across you as you were cleaning up the beach, Fort Lauderdale Beach one morning. And just seeing somebody taking those steps really does have a big impact. It's a ripple effect. That's
Absolutely.
why we call these people wave makers, is because they are creating a ripple effect that is going to better our environment, both locally and globally. And there's nothing better than having a nice, clean, healthy, wild blue planet. So with that, do you want to tell us where we can find the bracelets, where we can support the causes, and where we can find out about how we can take part in these beach cleanups and the reef cleanups?
Absolutely. We are on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, but you can actually check out our bracelets at 4Ocean.com. And also sign up for our newsletter, and that will give you an update of our new campaigns that are coming out.
Yeah.
When we have beach cleanups, what we're doing internationally, and be able to. And absolutely, please come out to one of our beach cleanups. We make it a lot of fun. You get to spend a day out on the beach. Make it a family affair.
Yeah.
And you're making and you're doing and you're doing good for the world.
And there's nothing bad about spending a day out in the water, cleaning up our blue planet. So all good things. Thank you so much, Joe, for taking time out of the boat, of your time on the water, for joining us and sharing more about your particular passion for ocean conservation. Thank you so much for everything you do. And I'm really glad that you're with 4Ocean and that we could learn more about their initiatives too. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed it.
Awesome. Well, we will make sure to include all of those links for you down below in the comments section. And if you have questions, feel free to also leave those in the comments. Joe will be around to answer some of those for you. So please be sure to check that out and join us next week. Well, we're doing these conversations by water every week, Wednesdays, 3 p.m. Eastern Time. I hope you enjoy it. And in the meantime, have meaningful moments out there in the world. And we'll see you next time. Wishing you water.
Thank you.